What surprised me most was how fast that note in Locker 47 turned into the hottest rumor in school. One cryptic line, and suddenly everyone's got a theory, secret, admirer, prank, or something darker. Here's the takeaway: even the smallest mystery can hijack everyone's attention.
If you look at it logically, anonymous notes have a huge psychological impact because they trigger uncertainty. Studies show that when people don't know who's behind something, their brains fill in the gaps, usually with the most dramatic possibilities.
But isn't that half the fun? I mean, when I found a doodle in my locker last semester, I spent days imagining it was from someone with a secret crush. Turned out it was just my friend messing around. But for a while, it made school way more exciting. I get anxious with that kind of attention. The idea of someone watching or singling me out, even in a nice way, makes me want to disappear. I think the risk is that rumors can spiral and hurt people, even if the note was harmless.
Exactly, there's a fine line between excitement and anxiety. The real drama isn't always in the note itself, but in how everyone reacts. It's like a social experiment playing out in real time.
And the spread is measurable. I remember last year, a rumor about a surprise test started with one person and reached half the grade by lunch. Information, or even just speculation, moves faster than most people realize.
So, do you think Elle should go to the meeting after class? If it were me, I'd probably drag a friend along, just in case it's not as romantic as it sounds. Uncertain. It depends on how much she trusts her instincts. Sometimes, the unknown is better left alone, especially if it feels off.
What surprised me most was how everyone expected some wild secret admirer, but it turned out to be the student council with a job offer. Here's the takeaway: sometimes the real twist is just extra responsibility landing on your desk.
That's actually pretty common. There's a study from 2022 showing that over 60% of high schoolers feel more anxious about public assignments than about social drama. The pressure to perform can outweigh any initial excitement.
Wait, so Elle thought she was getting a love letter, but instead she's supposed to run the spring fair? That's like thinking you're getting a puppy and getting a goldfish instead. Cute, but way more work than you expect. It's kind of scary, honestly. Being chosen for something public means everyone's watching, and if you mess up, it feels like the whole school knows. I'd probably panic more about that than a secret admirer.
Exactly. The shift from anticipation to obligation can be jarring. It's flattering, but suddenly you're on the hook for making things happen, not just enjoying the attention.
And there's data to back that up. Students who take on visible roles report higher stress, but also higher satisfaction if things go well. It's a double-edged sword. Risk and reward both go up.
I remember when I got picked to lead the class project. At first, I thought, yay, they trust me. Then I realized it meant staying up late and chasing people for their parts. Not as glamorous as it sounds.
So maybe the real plot twist isn't the reveal, but how we handle the fallout. Responsibility can be scarier than any secret, especially when everyone's watching to see what you'll do next. Only after two iterations, we realized how fast Elle's note had gone from a private moment to everyone's business. Here's the takeaway: in a school, a story can go viral before lunch, and it's not always the truth that spreads the quickest.
Can you explain that in more detail? I mean, sometimes it feels like the more dramatic or mysterious a rumor is, the faster people want to share it. But is it just about the content, or who starts it?
Last year, someone said I was moving away because they saw me packing boxes. It was just for a garage sale. But by third period, people were already planning my goodbye party. It's wild how a tiny detail can snowball. I partly agree, but sometimes the jokes go too far. When people started guessing who wrote Elle's note, some of the names were just mean. It's like, where's the line between funny and hurtful?
That's the risk. Humor can make rumors feel lighter, but it also gives people permission to push boundaries. If you add social media, the reach multiplies. Uh, One screenshot, and suddenly it's not just our school, but everyone's group chat.
There's actually research showing that rumors with emotional hooks like crushes or scandals are shared up to 70% more often than neutral news. So, the more it tugs at curiosity or embarrassment, the more likely it is to spread.
But sometimes, people just want to be in on the joke, right? Like, if you're the first to know, you feel special. Even if it's not true, it's almost like a game. Uncertain if it's always a game, though. I've seen friendships get weird after a rumor, even if it started as a joke. Maybe we need to think more about how we react, not just what we hear.
Only after 2 iterations we realized cocoa powder is way messier than it looks on TV. My hands were brown for the rest of the day, but we did get a partial print. Here's the takeaway: improvising detective gear is half the fun, even if it's a disaster.
Can we talk about how every detective movie makes dusting for prints look so easy? I checked, and real fingerprint powder is actually magnetic cocoa, just clumps. But I guess the point was to try not to solve a crime scene.
I still think the best clue we found was that ancient gum wrapper. Like, who chews grape gum anymore? Maybe the real mystery is what's living under those lockers. I was worried we'd get in trouble for snooping, honestly. There's a line between being curious and invading someone's space. But I get why it's tempting. Solving mysteries feels like you're in a story.
That's the pop culture effect, right? We all want to be Sherlock for a day. But here's the question: at what point does playing detective just become chaos? We barely found anything useful, but it was hilarious.
There's actually research on this. Most amateur investigations hit a wall because of lack of access and training. The odds of finding real evidence with cocoa powder? Pretty much zero.
But it's the thrill. Like, even if you only find a weird sticker or a lost pen, it feels like a win. Plus, we got to laugh at ourselves, which is kind of the best part. I wonder if anyone listening has tried their own mini investigation. Maybe there's a creative way to satisfy curiosity without crossing boundaries.
Only after 2 iterations we realized that what started as a harmless prank for laughs could actually make someone feel singled out. Here's the takeaway: even the funniest stories need a gut check before they go public.
If you look at the numbers, viral content that crosses personal boundaries tends to get more backlash than engagement in the long run. There's a real risk of losing trust, not just views.
But isn't a little drama what makes things interesting? I mean, if everyone always agrees and plays it safe, wouldn't the stories get boring? I get that, but sometimes the person on the other end of the prank doesn't have a choice. Shouldn't we ask before sharing anything that could embarrass someone?
Consent is non-negotiable. It's tempting to think all drama is good drama, but if we cross that line, we risk hurting people and our own credibility.
There's also the ripple effect. One viral note can lead to a pile-on, and suddenly it's not just a joke between friends. That's a pattern we've seen in other cases, too.
So maybe the best stories are the ones where everyone's in on the joke, and nobody feels left out or exposed.
That's the line we'll keep aiming for. Stories that are fun, fair, and never at someone else's expense. Thanks for sticking with us. See you next time, where the laughs come with a little more